Yeah. All right, let's go to the wild card. We may have to do this quick. How about this? Let's see if I can pick all of yours.
Okay.
But I'm going to go through all of mine. I got a ton of these. But what I want you to do is I want you to rate them on a scale of 1 to 10, how much you would want to see them. And then if we get through all of mine and I've missed one, then I lose. You're not allowed to add any extras. You're not allowed to put another one on.
Okay.
We're going on the honor system. But I've got about 30 matchups here, so I probably have them all.
You probably have them all.
My dream matchups for the college football playoff. I'm going to start with Big 12 versus FSU versus ACC. Then we'll go ACC only. Then we'll go Big 12 only. The number one possible matchup that I believe we could see, and I want to rate them 1 to 10, 10 being the best, is Deion versus FSU. There's no question that would be the best playoff matchup that we could theorize. Now, again, not all of these teams are even competing for the playoff, but these are my dream matchups. Colorado versus FSU. Oh my God, could you imagine if it was in Tallahassee in the first round? That's the number one matchup.
I give it a 9 only because I just don't see it being possible.
Yeah.
That's the only reason.
Some of these impossible. Number 2, Louisville versus Cincinnati. Because of the way that Satterfield left Louisville to go there, that would be insane.
I'm putting it out of 4 because then I have to say Satterfield's going to keep his job for another year. And I don't want that to happen. So that's the reason that we're going with that.
Fran Brown versus Deion, Syracuse and Colorado.
That's 10.
Yeah,
that's a straight 10.
It was too easy not to do that one.
That's such an easy 10. Not even remotely close to anything else.
This one would be interesting to me. This is not a 10 or anything, but UCF versus FSU, a battle of teams in Florida. You've got a blue blood, close to a blue blood versus an up and comer. That would be a fun one to me.
I'd give it a solid 6.
Texas Tech versus Clemson, the Portal Kings versus the Portal Denier.
I'm going to give it an 8.5 because of all we're saying now at this point, and it's an insult to Joey McGuire. So sorry, Joey, if you watch this and come back at me and text me. You're turning into Lane Kiffin, and I also want to have another Portal King. Like, you're the Portal Popper right now. So let's go ahead and just put you there.
I think Miami versus Colorado could be intriguing for some reasons. I think that, big personalities with Mario and Deion, that's not like a historic rivalry or anything, but that one could be fun to me.
Yeah, 7, I would say probably is a pretty fair matchup just because of that feeling of a former Seminole versus a Hurricane.
A rivalry in the college football playoff would be fun. West Virginia and Pitt felt like an easy one to pick.
That was an easy one. That's so easy, especially if that game is played in Morgantown.
All right, so that's all I got for the interconference. Let's go ACC. For the same reasons we mentioned them earlier in the show, a Florida State versus Miami matchup in the college football playoff would be ridiculously good.
It'd be stupid fun. It would just be super fun. That's a 10.
Clemson versus Miami, probably the best 2 teams there. I think that would carry some weight and be a lot of fun.
8 overall. I think you'd get your money's worth when it comes to the on-field matchup, but I just feel like it would be blown out of proportion.
Bill versus Bill, UNC versus Boston College.
0 points. I have no desire to watch that game at all. None whatsoever. And it's because of my pure hatred for Bill O'Brien. But that's a whole different story for another time.
The only angle I like is the NFL angle. And just 2 old curmudgeons. Like, imagine having them in the pregame press. The pregame press conference would be a lot of fun.
SMU versus Florida information first. Yeah, nobody. Okay.
SMU versus Florida State, kind of a new blood versus a historic power in the conference.
Yeah, I'd put it at a 6 right now. Just for where those 2 programs are.
I've got an ACC wild card that I'll save till the very end, but I'll go Big 12 here. The Holy War would be way up there.
Number 10. 10 out of 10. Probably the second best matchup you said.
Colorado versus Arizona State. Dilly versus Prime. The love and admiration they have feels like it would be fun.
I think it would work. I'd give it a solid 7.5.
Texas Tech and Baylor.
That's a 9. That's 9. Because you got to remember that Joey McGuire was on Dave Aranda's staff before he took the job. So a lot of what he's learned and how to be a good head coach comes from the teachings of Dave Aranda. So I give that a 9.
2 rivalries. I'll just say them together. Kansas and Kansas State. Arizona versus Arizona State. In a playoff game. Rivalries are high. Like, that's why I put
6, 1 to 4. That's just the way I feel right now.
This would be fun. I only want this in the national championship game, though. I want Kansas State versus Iowa State. The very first game of the year and the very last game of the year.
Okay, when you put it that way, the game that opens up the season to close out the season, it's an 8. And I do think that both these coaches deserve more respect at the national perspective. So this would be a way to make sure that they get that.
My wild card, ACC. I'm cheating on this one. A team with 1 ACC championship and a team with 0 ACC championships. Miami versus South Carolina.
That's so disrespectful. You know what's the funny thing? is that's the team that most people would say, oh no, the team that does have the ACC championship is Miami. No, it's South Carolina. That's the one. So congratulations. It's even crazier. You got them all except for one, so you lose the challenge.
Where did I miss?
Oklahoma State versus Clemson. Give me the battle of the oranges between.
Oh yeah, that'd be a beautiful color.
Give me Dabo versus Mike Gundy one more time.
We get Clemson to wear the purples and Oklahoma State to wear the all oranges? Can we can we NFL color rush that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what it has to be.
Yeah, no, that's the only one you miss.